So welcome everybody to the South Texas Border Chapter, Texas Master Naturalist April meeting. And with that, I think Jennifer is here and is going to talk to us about dark skies. Jennifer is one of our TMN members. She's been a member for what, three years maybe now?
Class of 2020.
20, okay. And you can give us some more information about yourself, and you can proceed with your program when you're ready and all set up.
All right, so I am going to work on sharing my screen. While I am doing that, I would like to know what your favorite constellation is, if you'll put that in the chat.
Ooh.
We have Big Dipper, Orion, classic. I love Orion. Cassiopeia, that is a good one. I love Cassiopeia. So my name is Jennifer Rektorik. I have been a member of this chapter since 2020, and the first thing I want to say is I am definitely not an expert in this subject matter, but while doing this research, I learned so much, and even as a complete layperson on this topic, I feel like I could go out and talk to other people in the community about why dark skies are important and how we can accomplish bringing back the stars. And so I hope that by the end of this presentation, you will feel the same, because this is something that we will have to work together as a community to accomplish. So without further ado, we'll get started. So we had some responses on our favorite constellation. This is my favorite. It is the Pleiades, also known as the Seven Sisters. And I remember my dad pointing it out to me when I was a kid, along with all the other big constellations, but I always had fun trying to figure out where the Pleiades were. You know, there's a lot of stories. I know a lot of people have childhood memories of looking at the stars. So we're lucky to have that connection. We're lucky to be able to see the stars. So when was the last time that you truly saw the night sky? To really see the stars, the best stars that you'd seen in a while. The ones that really stick out for me, I was fortunate enough to be on a ranch in northern Starr County at the turn of the millennium, and I spent all that evening with my cousins looking up at the night sky. It was a beautiful, clear winter sky in the brush country, the best stars I have ever seen. And I was 16 years old. That still sticks with me. It's really a gift to be able to see the stars, and it's not something that many people can see anymore. So why do we care about the night sky? I mean, sure, the stars are great, but we've got a lot of other stuff to deal with. There's a lot going on in the world. We're busy. Do we even have time for the stars? Well, one reason we should care about dark skies is human health. So exposure to artificial light at night can interrupt our circadian rhythms, just like all other life on Earth. We evolved here on this planet. We're used to the day-night cycle. Our biological clock is governed by that cycle. And when we have artificial light at night, it disrupts it. One of the ways that it does that is by interrupting the production of melatonin. And so melatonin helps keep us healthy. It has antioxidant properties. It helps us sleep. It boosts our immune system. It lowers cholesterol, and it helps our entire endocrine system function. So when we are exposed to a lot of light at night, it helps suppress that melatonin production. Another reason that we, and especially we as master naturalists, care about the night sky is because of ecological integrity. So just like artificial light can harm human health, it also affects plant and animal health, who also evolved with our day-night cycle. It's a rhythm that governs life on this planet in almost all habitats, not everyone, but a lot of them. So this can affect reproduction, nourishment, sleep, and protection from predators. These are necessary functions that can, when they're disrupted, affect an entire ecosystem. So, for example, our lights turn night into day. Predators can now see, they can hunt and prey. Animals that counted on that nighttime protection now have a longer period of time that they have to be wary of predators without the benefit of being able to hide in the darkness. There's been a lot of research recently on how artificial light and light pollution affects wildlife. It can disrupt frog populations. If after a rain you've heard the frogs croaking and singing at night, that can be part of their breeding ritual, and artificial light disrupts the time that they think that they should be out there croaking, and that can affect how they breed and affect their population size. Baby sea turtles also often hatch at night, and they are looking for a bright horizon over the sea to crawl from their nest into the ocean. Artificial lights can lead them away from the water and onto land, and this has happened in Florida, that sea turtles have died because of light disrupting this natural process. And in the valley, we know that birds are migrating through. A lot of birds migrate at night, and artificial lights can affect their navigation. It can also cause them to migrate too early or too late, and they get into different adverse weather events that can affect them. And we've all seen insects buzzing around a light at night. This can cause them to die from lights that produce a lot of heat. Dropped in insect populations affects all the animals that eat them, and it just goes up the food chain from there. As we learned in our Texas Master Natural class, everything is connected, and when one seemingly small part of an ecosystem is affected by something like artificial light, it can have devastating consequences. Another reason we care about the night sky is just the intrinsic and cultural value of the night sky. Without our natural night sky, we would have never navigated the globe, walked on the moon, learned about our expanding universe, discovered that we as humans are made of stardust. For all of human history and until very recently, all of our ancestors experienced a night sky full of stars. And that night sky has inspired science, religion, philosophy, art, literature. Around the world, there are cultural practices and ceremonies relating to the night sky in many, many different cultures. So that is part of our common and universal heritage as humans, but it is rapidly becoming unknown to the newest generations. And I think without that connection, it's hard to make people realize how important the night sky really is. How can you love or be inspired by something that you've never seen? The night sky is something that you have to travel far away to see. And so while they're an enduring part of our culture, it makes me sad to think that when we sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star to our children today, they can think of it more as a fairy tale rather than a reality, that they can go outside and see the stars twinkling. This is a very famous picture. This is the pale blue dot. So this is actually the reverse perspective, looking back at Earth rather than Earth looking up at the sky. But I think we can all use a little wonder in our lives. And as Carl Sagan said, this mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam is a reminder of our place in the universe. And perhaps the most important reason is I just think the stars are neat. They're cool. We should protect them. Everyone should be able to see them. So what is causing our night skies to disappear? light pollution. So I really want to emphasize that it's not the light that is necessarily a problem. It is the pollution part that is the problem. And that is something that we can fix while still having light to do, the things that we want to do at night. This is a light pollution map of the contiguous United States. You can't see Alaska or Hawaii here. And it's estimated that the Milky Way is no longer visible to 1/3 of humanity, and that includes 60% of Europeans and 80% of Americans. More than 99% of people living in the US and Europe look up and see light polluted skies. So when we look at this map, you can tell where the people live. It's all those bright spots. And you can see how all of those bright spots feed into each other and blanket the populated areas with light. So when you're seeing the light, of course, you can't see the stars above. This is a light pollution map of Texas. So you can see, of course, our cities, the Metroplex, Houston. This stretch of light below San Antonio is the Eagle Ford Shale. We have oil and gas production out in the Midland, Odessa area. And then you can see South Louisiana out in the Gulf. That's oil and gas production out there as well. So it's artificial lights of all kinds contribute to this light pollution. And here is our home in the valley. And so we can see, where the light is where the people are. And especially you see like over McAllen, this white pinkish color. So the color scale you see here is to help give a visual representation of how many stars you could expect to see versus artificial light. And this is called the BORTLE scale. So the BORTLE scale was created by John E. Bortle, who is not to be confused with Blake Bortles. And this was done in 2001 to help night sky observers both quantify and compare how much they could see of the night sky, as well as the interference of light pollution in a particular location. So it has 9 levels to the scale, with 8 and 9 being the most light pollution. And you can see that the colors on the scale also correspond to the visible light spectrum. So 8 and 9 are urban inner city skies. You have that white light, and that's all you can see is the white light and not really any stars. As you move down the spectrum, you go from urban to suburban to rural skies, and then finally to excellent dark sky locations. So we're going to take this BORTLE scale and we're going to go on a virtual field trip around the valley. I've chosen places for our field trip that are open to the public. But of course, if you wanted to visit these at nighttime, please make sure that you follow any rules about nighttime visits. So if we're going around the valley, where would we expect to see the best stars? Well, we can start at the McAllen Convention Center. Of course, none of us expect to see very good stars here. This lightpollutionmap.info website is where all these images are taken from, and they will give you the BORTLE scale and other information about the location that you are looking up. So this is the sky brightness at the McAllen Convention Center. You can also see SQM here. That stands for Sky Quality Meter, and these are devices that you can buy to measure how much light is in an area, and the meter converts the light into these units that you see here, which are magnitudes per square arc second. The larger that number is, the darker the sky. And that can be a little hard to interpret, so that's why I think the BORTLE scale is really useful. And here we see that the BORTLE scale is class 8 or 9. That is a city sky or an inner city sky. So this light is all around us. That's what we're going to see. We might be able to pick out a few stars, but you're really not going to see much of anything in the night sky. I'm sure we can find a better place than the convention center to see stars. So let's try one of the nature parks in McAllen. natural areas should have better stars, right? So we're going to go down to Quinta Mazatlan. And this is actually a class 7. So of course, Quinta is close to the mall, it's close to the airport, it's very close into the city. So there's still a lot of light pollution from the urban area. And class 7 is a suburban urban transition. And you can still see the color on this is that pinkish white light because there's still so much light pollution. So let's try something a little farther out from a town. We'll go to my hometown park since I'm from Wesco, Estero. So Estero Llano Grande is south of Wesco, and we can see that the color has changed. It's more of a red. This is BORTLE class 5, which is a suburban sky. So you can see better stars here than you would have at those places in McAllen, but there's still a lot of sky glow from Mercedes and Wesco nearby. So not the best stars. So we should probably choose someplace that's farther out there. How about La Salle del Rey? That's pretty far away from a city. So there should be pretty good stars out there, right? Well, we're still only at class 4, and that's a rural suburban transition. So you can see on the left-hand side to the west, there's Lynn San Manuel. They're getting some light pollution there. That area is probably going to develop further, so it's going to create more light pollution that will affect the night skies over Salle del Rey. But you could definitely see better stars here than you would at home if you live in McAllen or Wesco. But what about Starr County? Maybe there's better stars out there. We go to Falcon State Park. This is class 4. It's a rural suburban transition still, but you can see that blue to the north. Once you get away from the habitated areas and more into the ranch country, you'll start to see much better stars. But at the state park itself, it's still that rural suburban transition because of light pollution. So if we really wanted to see the best stars available in the valley, where could we go? Well, if you have your 4-wheel drive truck ready, you can drive north on the island and you will eventually get to a class 3 on the BORTLE class, which is a rural sky. And if you've been lucky enough to go out there, you can see some pretty spectacular stars at the island. As the city of South Padre Island develops further, you'll have to drive farther and farther north to escape that light pollution. But if it's a clear night, you can see some pretty great stars out there, just as you could in like the northern parts of Starr or Hidalgo County in the ranches, but that's not necessarily publicly accessible. So if you wanted to see the very best night sky in Texas, you could go to Big Bend National Park. So this is a BORTLE class 1, excellent, truly dark skies. And we had very exciting news. 2 weeks ago, they announced the new Greater Big Bend International Dark Sky Reserve. So this is 15,000 square miles that will be dark sky certified. It will benefit astronomical research, wildlife, ecology, and tourism in the area. And this is the world's largest international dark sky reserve. And it was a partnership between the McDonald Observatory, the Nature Conservancy, a whole bunch of other partners. It includes parts of Mexico. So this is really an international dark sky reserve. And so it shows what can be accomplished when organizations work together and they value dark skies. So you can definitely see some really, really great stars out in West Texas. So we've toured around the valley. We've been able to find a few places where we can see pretty good stars, but why can't we see them everywhere? What causes that light pollution? Well, obviously we have a bunch of lights outside, right? But there's different kinds of light pollution. So the first type of light pollution is sky glow, which is the artificial brightening of the night sky. And you'll see this, of course, mostly over urban areas. You've got the cars going, street lamps, offices, outdoor advertising, other buildings, and houses. It's estimated that 13% of residential electricity use in the US is just for outdoor lighting, and that's residential use. not commercial use. So people living in cities with a lot of sky glow have a hard time seeing more stars at night because of that light pollution. And astronomers are concerned with sky glow pollution because it reduces their ability to see the stars. And it's not just over one, it doesn't just stop outside the city limits, right? That glow continues to go on. So even areas that are fairly far away from the city can be affected by the sky glow. There's also light trespass, which is where light extends into an area where it's not wanted or needed, like a street light or your neighbor's light shining into your bedroom window. I'm sure a couple of us are familiar with this. My neighbor has a very large, very bright security light at their house, which irritates me, but at least it's not shining in my bedroom. And there's also glare. So glare is excessive brightness that can cause visual discomfort. And this can be a hazard to health because you're driving at night, you can't see very well because of the glare of not just lights from oncoming traffic, but street lights and improperly placed outdoor lights can contribute to people not being able to see very well while they're driving at night. So these are the three main forms of light pollution, and they can all be addressed with dark sky friendly lighting. Another thing that we worry about with light pollution is, why are we lighting up? What are we lighting? Why do we need to light the night sky? We don't. So you're sending all of that light upwards, and it's wasting energy and money. We use outdoor lighting for a variety of reasons, but on average, in the US, outdoor lighting uses about 120 terawatt hours of energy, and that's mostly illuminating parking lots and streets. That's enough electricity to run New York City for 2 years. And we're wasting about 30% of our total outdoor lighting, lighting the night sky. That costs us about $3.3 billion a year that we could be saving if we had proper dark sky lighting. It almost seems like we're addicted to outdoor lights. Why do we love them so much? Well, we know that there's various reasons that we have lights outside. There's safety, there's aesthetics, we think they look pretty, and there's also productivity, because sometimes we got stuff to do when the sun goes down. So I want you to keep these in mind, because we're going to come back to these reasons after we talk about what we can do to address light pollution. Because, my neighbor with their safety light would probably be pretty upset if I said, hey, can you take this down? The light is annoying me because it's shining into my yard also, because that light is to help keep them safe. People don't want to be told you should take down the lights that they think make their house look pretty. And I think we all want them to continue to work on the construction at the interchange at night, because otherwise they're never going to finish that construction. So change is hard, but the change doesn't have to be hard, because light pollution is actually really easy to address. What can I do? Instead of this kind of light, put in this kind of light. All we have to do is change the style of lighting. And there are basic guidelines for dark sky friendly lighting. It needs to be useful. So only light what needs to be lit. It needs to be targeted, so only light the area that's needed. For example, we don't need to light the sky. We want to light the parking lot. It should be no brighter than necessary. You want low-level lighting, not really bright lights that contribute to glare and make it actually harder to see. It should be controlled. So we control the light by putting a shield on it so that it points downwards. And then the color temperature of the light also matters. We want to minimize blue light emission. So these are the basics for dark sky friendly outdoor lighting. And there are many different types of light fixtures available that conform to these guidelines. So we have some examples of an outdoor light here, and you can see that as we shield the light more and more to what really needs to be lit following those guidelines, we can start to see the stars because all of that light pollution goes away. We are now directing the light where it is needed, and we are not wasting the energy sending light where it is not needed. These are some examples of discouraged light fixtures and acceptable light fixtures. Choosing the right fixture matters. There's different tasks that we have for lights, whether it's a security light or, we want to have an attractive light outside our front door. There's also dimmers and motion sensors and timers for outdoor lighting that can help reduce the illumination levels and save even more energy. So again, not lighting things when it's not useful. I just did a quick search on the Lowe's website and I got 549 results for dark sky outdoor lighting. These are some of the options here. They had certainly much more expensive options on lighting. And if you were interested in retrofitting the lighting at your house to be dark sky friendly, the International Dark Sky Association has a fixture seal of approval program on their website. You can do a search and they will give you options for dark sky friendly lighting. Your choice of light bulb, not just the fixture, matters. So we have a good shielded fixture, but now we want to put in a good light bulb. So we have several options here. And which one would you think would be the best for dark skies? So we're trying to target the light into a certain area. That would be the third option. So this is an LED and it is designed to where all the light actually points downwards, even if it didn't have a light fixture on it. So LED lights have quickly taken over the market. They will soon be about 60% of all lights in use. And this has really transformed the lighting industry and the lights that we see in our day-to-day life. And that is an opportunity to improve how we use energy and our outdoor spaces in a responsible and sustainable way. So LEDs are more versatile. They require less energy than other types of lighting that we've used previously. But even then, they still need to be chosen carefully for how you intend to use them. We want to minimize the amount of blue light. We want to look for warmer lights. And you can see here the temperature ratings and the colors that go along with those. We want to look for those warm lights. So for outdoor use, only warm white bulbs should be used outdoors, not the daylight bulbs or these cool white bulbs, which have become really popular. I see them more and more in houses around where I live. And the reason for that is blue light contributes more to light pollution than other temperature colors of light. So they're known to increase glare, which of course makes it hard to see, creates more safety problems for drivers as well as pedestrians. And in natural settings, blue light has been shown to adversely affect wildlife behavior and reproduction. So that's especially important in cities that are stopovers for migrating birds like we have in the valley. Outdoor lighting with that has a lot of blue in it is also, it makes sky glow worse, so it contributes to more light pollution. And that's one reason for that is because the blue light reaches significantly farther than warmer color lights. So the type of light bulb you choose matters. And new lights will have this lighting facts on them, and you can see where it will tell you the the Kelvin and the light appearance, whether it's warm or cool. And so for outdoor uses, you want to have those more warm amber colored lights. When I was researching the LED lights, it actually got quite complicated. So if you were interested in this, the IDA, which is the International Dark Sky Association, has a practical guide on choosing LEDs. And of course, this isn't just for home use. It's really important that businesses participate in these practices too. So that guide can be really useful for anyone who's working on something that, a business or public works to help reduce light pollution. So knowing what we now know about choosing dark sky friendly lights, we're coming back to why do we love our outdoor lights so much? We have safety, aesthetics, productivity, but we need to make sure that when we are accomplishing these goals, that we're following those guidelines. And if we only light what is needed, only light the area needed, with lights that are the appropriate brightness for the task, not brighter than they need to be. We're not trying to put too much blue light out there, and we're shielding all our lights. If we're doing all of that, do we think that we can still accomplish these purposes? Is the dark sky friendly lighting compatible with all the reasons that we're turning on our lights outdoors? And the answer is yes. So one of the big ones is safety, which is very important. And I'm sure many of us have safety lights at our houses. So maybe yours is on a motion detector, maybe yours is always on at night. And knowing that that light is there, either as a deterrent or to help us see if we need to, it helps us sleep. So here's an example of an unshielded security light at a house. And we can see that it's lighting up the whole yard. It seems like it's very effective. But what happens when we shield that light? Now we can see that the glare was actually making it harder to see that there was a person standing there at the gate. And when we have a properly shielded light, we're actually lighting what needs to be lit rather than the glare coming back into our eyes and making it harder for us to see. So we have another example here. You can see that simply turning the light to face downwards completely changes how we can see this scene. Instead of us staring into the light, even though we can still see the person, now we can really see that person and what they are doing, and we're not having to squint. The glare isn't affecting our ability to see. So, a fully shielded light is really going to be a safer security light than a light bulb just out there shining in all directions. It is also compatible with making our houses look nice. So this is a house that was featured in the March 22 magazine for the International Dark Sky Association, which is called Nightscape. And this house is out in Marfa. So it was designed, all the outdoor lighting was designed with those, with the guidelines in mind. So it's useful, targeted, appropriate, controllable, and warm colored. And it makes the architecture look beautiful, but look above, you can see the Milky Way. So clearly, these are compatible goals. And of course, being out in Marfa, it is part of that Greater Big Bend Reserve. So it is supported by a lot of just parkland, but also the people that live in these communities follow these guidelines. So it's not just one home that makes a difference in being able to see the night sky. It's everyone working together to make it happen. So what about productivity? Sometimes we really need bright lights to accomplish things at night, like construction work, sports games. So this is a baseball field in Flagstaff, Arizona, which is a dark sky community. And on the left side, you have their old ball field lighting, which is unshielded. It was put in the 70s. And they wanted to update the lighting to be dark sky friendly. So on the right side, you can see they changed the lighting, it's targeted, it is shielded, and actually the lights that are in the park now have a brighter average illumination level than the previous lights. So they're brighter, even though from the pictures, because of the glare, we think that the old lighting is brighter. Lighting is also very important in many industries. This is a gas plant out in West Texas. And the McDonald Observatory is out there, and they put out a recommended lighting practices for industry use, primarily the oil and gas industry. So they work together with industry to create these guidelines. They work with many different partner organizations to help maintain the dark skies out in West Texas while still being able to develop the oil and gas fields. So these guidelines still take into account safety. They take into account the particular needs of the industry, like, needing to flare gas occasionally, but still trying to minimize that light pollution. So you can see here the before and after, and the difference in that the shielded lights make. So when we make intentional choices about our outdoor lighting, we can still accomplish the things that we want to at night without causing light pollution. And we can turn a lot of sky glow and glare into a beautiful night sky full of stars. And something come up in the chat. Sorry, I lost it. Something continuous, continuous night lighting, increasing safety. I would have to really look that up. So this is just a really basic overview, but it's a really good question as to whether having the lights always on really increases safety. And motion sensors and dimmable lights are a really good option for dark sky friendly lighting that people should definitely investigate. So what can our community do to bring back the night sky? There's a lot of organizations out there that are doing really good work. The biggest and most well-known one is the International Dark Sky Association at darksky.org. Their vision is the night sky filled with stars is celebrated and protected around the world as a shared heritage benefiting all living things. Their website has a ton of resources. I highly recommend that you visit it, but I'm going to briefly go over some of their programs. They do have the International Dark Sky Reserves, and so this includes the Greater Big Bend Dark Sky Reserve that was just created. And so these reserves have an exceptional starry night and a nocturnal environment that is specifically protected for scientific, natural, educational, cultural heritage, and/or public enjoyment. And so these reserves have a core of dark sky that is further supported by a peripheral dark sky area so that you can really have a quality night sky. There are also dark sky parks, which are smaller areas that meet similar requirements. And in Texas, we do have a couple, including Enchanted Rock and South Llano River State Park in the Hill Country. They also have international dark sky communities. So dark skies aren't limited just to national and state parks. A dark sky community is a town or city that has shown dedication to the preservation of the night sky by having effective night sky ordinances that are enforced. So that includes, lighting in the city, and also that they do education and that the citizens support this. So we do have several dark sky communities in Texas, including Fredericksburg, Dripping Springs, and Lakewood Village. I believe that's a new one that has been added. So there are stringent guidelines, but it's on their website, and communities can work to implement those guidelines and get the dark sky community designation. The timing just happened to work out that International Dark Sky Week starts on April 22nd. And so we're doing this presentation. This is a great time to learn more about the dark sky, and the IDA has created several different actions that people can take to support dark skies. So as a master naturalist, you might be interested in the citizen science project. Globe at Night helps citizen scientists measure and submit their night sky brightness observations. They have an app that you can download and you can submit your observations in real time. You can also do an inventory of your home lighting. So this would be really great to do now that we've talked about dark sky friendly lighting. Just take a walk around your house, look at your lights. Do you think they are good lights for that purpose? And what do you think that you could do to make them more dark sky friendly? So there is a dark sky friendly home certification offered by the IDA. If you go to their website that you see here, they'll walk you through the process, and you get a little form at the end for your dark sky friendly home. You can also host a night walk in your city. These are guided walking tours that demonstrate how the lighting we add to our cities impacts the way we use them and the environment at large. And there's a little guidebook on the website. But as I've been doing this research, when I'm driving around in my community, I'm definitely saying, oh, those are bad lights. Oh, those are bad lights. Once you're aware of the issue, you can't stop seeing lights that are improperly placed, that are polluting the night sky, causing glare, causing problems. If you're interested, you can become a dark sky advocate. These are people around the world that educate the public about light pollution. They have a free video training, and then once you complete that, you email them and they will let you into their online community with resources that you can use to advocate for the dark sky. Partnering with other organizations is crucial for dark skies. So this could involve just educating other organizations in the community about how to reduce light pollution, or hosting an event to educate the community, which I think educating the community about conserving natural resources is what Texas Master Naturalists are about. So maybe this is something that we could consider working into our chapter programming when we do education. They also have a fun scavenger hunt, and if you complete it, they will send you a sticker. So that could be something that would be really fun to do with your kids, and you'll get a sticker out of it. We also have a Texas chapter of the International Dark Sky Association, and they put on the Texas Night Sky Festival. They partner with some other organizations. I believe the Hays County Master Naturalists have actually been very involved with the Texas Night Sky Festival, which they hold in Dripping Springs. So I wasn't able to find out what the date was for this festival this year. The pandemic may have affected it. And I do know that the McDonald Observatory is doing some activities for Dark Sky Week coming up next week as well, but that's out in West Texas. Lights Out Texas is a really great program to help migrating birds. Texas is globally important for birds. Approximately 1 out of every 3 birds that migrates through the US in the spring, and 1 out of every 4 in the fall comes through Texas. And a lot of them are coming right here through the valley. It's nearly 2 billion birds every year. We also know that US bird populations are declining rapidly, with 1 out of every 4 birds lost since 1970. 1 billion birds die annually from collisions with buildings and structures. So outdoor lights can attract and disorient birds. They can contribute to bird deaths and problems with migration. So this program is designed to reduce migrating bird deaths. And right now we are in full spring migration. They ask people to turn out their lights during migration, which in the spring is from March 1st to June 15th, and in the fall from August 15th to November 30th. So turning out the lights for this program means turning off all outdoor lighting as much as possible from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. during migration. That includes turning off landscape lighting that can affect birds that are trying to rest in trees. And it includes not just your outdoor lighting, but closing your blinds so that the light coming out from your windows doesn't contribute. Turning off lights that you're not using, maybe even using task lighting instead of having a lot of overhead lights on. And of course, for essential lights like security lights, you want to have dark sky friendly lighting practices. There's also some more guidelines for businesses and how they can participate in this program. But it's a really great program to implement and promote in our communities to help migrating birds, because we know that they are coming through right now. I was also really excited to learn that the South Texas Astronomical Society, which is based out of Brownsville, is working on a dark sky movement. They have a really great website, and part of that website talks about dark skies. They are working on a dark sky ordinance for the city of Brownsville to help save the public money and increase safety. And they talk about, this has been implemented by other cities and has had a really great effect on reducing light pollution. And that includes the glare, the light trespass, and the sky glow. So I'm really excited to see that this work is being done in the Valley. I'd love to see it happen in more communities. And the IDA has a model lighting ordinance. So a lot of that work on best practices has already been done that municipalities can look at and tweak to their own community's needs. But this is something that, excuse me, that could be done in our cities here in the Valley to help reduce light pollution. That would benefit humans, it would benefit wildlife, and hopefully we would be able to see better stars. These are some resources. I sent a whole bunch of links to Joseph so that he can, I don't know if he can share them in the chat, but he can post them on the Facebook video so that people can reference them later. I do really want to say thank you to the Blanco County Friends of the Night Sky who shared their chapter's PowerPoint presentation with me. I got a lot of resources from them, and that was really helpful in putting this all together. I saw a question come in, so we're almost to the end, and then we'll do questions. So just to recap, light pollution harms humans, it harms animals and plants, and it wastes money and energy. So dark sky friendly lighting helps us, have better health for wildlife and humans. We're not wasting money. We're protecting the planet by not wasting energy. And all of this can be done with intentional choices. So I hope that you found this presentation informative and that you can use this information to make those intentional choices with your home, with your businesses and your communities so that we can see the stars again. So thank you very much for listening. And I'm going to scroll back up. Let's see. Why does the oil and gas industry use so much lighting? So why do any of us use so much lighting? Because we can. And LED lights have made it even cheaper. So I think that's one reason I see so many more lights outdoors everywhere, because LED lights are so much more inexpensive to run. So they light up their whole plant so that they can see what's going on, and they have never had to make a choice to not do it that way. That's why those intentional choices are so important. And that's also why those partnerships are so important. So those guidelines that the McDonald Observatory made were done with industry, saying, you know, we want to protect the night sky. We're doing research here. This dark sky reserve is really important for a lot of reasons, but we know that you have your business to run. So they were able to come up with guidelines that reduce light pollution, that will increase, you know, make things better for their employees, right? Everybody benefits from reduced pollution, but you have to think about things intentionally. And when people don't have that intentional mindset and they are not educated about things, then you just put up lights everywhere so that you can see. Let's see, any studies about Christmas holiday lights? Yes, okay, so I did not have as much time to work on this presentation as I wanted to. I definitely wanted to look up something about Christmas and holiday lights. I don't have a good question. I don't have a good answer for that question. And I think a lot of it is just balancing the interests. So don't put out those really blue, hot white lights. But it's also not during migration. I'm not really sure what effect they have. I haven't read any studies about them, but some people want Christmas to start in October. Maybe leave the Christmas lights closer to the actual holidays. I mean, we still want to have fun, but we want to be mindful of our impact on the environment. So I will try to look that up and maybe do a newsletter article, and maybe I can include that in there.
Just excellent.
Why do office buildings leave lights on overnight? Because they can. And that's one reason that talking about dark skies is really important. Or the Lights Out Texas program. So they're saying businesses, please don't leave your lights on overnight. We know that you created this beautiful building and you're trying to highlight it, but you're contributing to light pollution. So I think part of that also is different building designs going forward that are more bird safe and that are dark sky friendly. And one of the things I talk about in the dark sky or the Lights Out Texas is to use the task lighting. So instead of having the entire office lit up, if you're the only person there, turn on the desk lamp and use that instead. Part of it is really just making those intentional choices, and education goes a long way to that. Did I mention any, did I miss any more questions?
There was one earlier, Jennifer. They asked about the yellow bug lights. Does that help reduce the blue light?
So the amber color is better. And I didn't see that question at all. And there's a whole bunch of stuff. I'd have to scroll through to find it. So are they talking about bug zapper lights or?
Just the yellow bug lights.
Yellow. Oh, the lights that like that the color was intentionally chosen so that bugs don't go to them.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that was an intentional choice to help. Of course, LEDs don't emit as much heat as other types of light bulbs do, but the color choice is part of those dark sky friendly practices. So it's better for the bugs and it's better for everybody really to reduce the blue light emissions.
Are there any other questions? I didn't see anything else in chat. I was watching to see.
Well, Sister Mary said that we should think of doing this at the Home and Garden show next year, and I think that's a great idea, and I would love to help with that.
That's a great idea, yes. And I would like to see if there's something at one of these organizations that could be presented like in our little park area here, my neighborhood. We're an enclosed gated area.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be nice to do a presentation to the members of our park. They're always wanting some informative thing.
Sure.
To
Yeah.
increase their awareness. So,
and if other people are interested in learning more about this, I have this presentation already put together, but I'm happy to present to other groups. I think the Wesco Museum is interested in having me do this presentation. The more people we can educate about dark skies, hopefully the more change there will be for the better.
Right. And Elizabeth's on here and she says the presentation at McAllen Library would be good, and we're on their speakers list. So thank you so much. Any other comments or questions for Jennifer?
I'm just wondering, this is Sister Mary H. I'm just wondering also about options. Is there something we as a chapter could do, not just presentations to the interested, at local venues, but ways about publicizing it more broadly and including getting local leaders involved and the people who make the local ordinances.
Right.
Is there something we might consider doing in that way? I'm thinking of this as a longer term sort of project, but
we have two journalists. We have two journalists online with us right now. Eileen Mattei is here, and she was with the other chapter, and Anita Westervelt's on, and they could bring attention to this. Eileen, are you still writing? Are you writing any lately?
I think we need to do a whole variety of ways of communicating, though, because each way is only going to get a selective audience. So,
right.
How to make the efforts as varied as possible to maximize the effect of it.
Well, I think it's a good idea for us to take a look and identify different ways of accomplishing that purpose. And I think it would be a great project for the chapter.
Yeah.
Maybe something we can chew on in the coming months.
Yes.
Well, and we could start small. Like I say, I know of a location here that I could encourage action for, and it may take the smaller bites, the smaller communities like Weslaco or my park here. If we can get the smaller areas and the smaller towns, then the bigger areas are more likely to buy into it, maybe, or have the examples. But I think it's a good initiative.
I agree with what you just said, Donna. And I think that would be an excellent start to maybe a PR type program. Are you in an RV park or
Yes, we're next door to Estarrelona Grande State Park. It's an RV park, but it's also got permanent housing.
well, that would be an excellent, if you could get something started, and then you could start with a PR program and show people, but tell them that the effectiveness of it. I mean, as a PR program, as something for the chapter to do, it's awfully far-reaching to I don't know. I think actually, Mary, we should probably have a a brainstorming session on what to do with that, because I mean it could really grow legs. I mean there's lots of potential, but we need a plan.
Yeah,
I think that sounds like a good idea. Consider forming a small work group to do some brainstorming and come up with some proposals to offer the chapter and see.
Well, and I think one of the excellent things we could do immediately is ask each of our members to do the assessment of their own home and see how many members we have participating in doing that.
Yeah, and if you can get dark sky friendly lightings, you'll qualify for the certification, and you get your little certificate.
All right. Well, thank you, Jennifer. Our time is up for the program. We appreciate it very much. I think that's certainly increased awareness among our group, and that's where the ripples start and will go out from us, hopefully. And thank you. I've heard about the program some, and and the dark skies, but hadn't really had this thorough an approach to it. So, and you brought it right to home, showing us all of our local communities here. So thank you so much. Everybody was really enjoying it. There's lots of kudos for you in the comments.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And everybody, we're going to be moving on to our business meeting. And I will start with calling it to order officially. And we have some good logins on our Facebook page. Our guest speaker was Jennifer, and thank you again, Jennifer. And with that, I had sent out our agenda and also the treasurer's reports and minutes of the last meetings. So let's start with the treasurer's report. And are there any comments or questions on that? I don't see any hands waving or anyone jumping up and down. So if you do have questions, be sure, and you're more than welcome to.
Night skies.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So if you do have questions on the treasurer's report, you can address those to our treasurer, email her, or give her a call. And otherwise, we will accept the treasurer's reports as presented. Okay. And also, the minutes of the last meeting were attached. Again, Martha was in travel, and she does work full time, and we appreciate her stepping in and continuing to do those minutes for us. And I did not see anything that raised any questions in my mind. And so if anybody else has questions, you can be sure and ask Martha. Or if you just see a misspelled name or something, we'll be happy to correct those minutes. And otherwise, we will have them on file for anyone to review. Okay, I think I saw Ronnie. Yes, there he is. He's got his picture on so we can see him. Do you want to talk about our membership, Ronnie?
Hello, everybody. You all are doing well. I'm going to just quickly start sharing to give out my report. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Perfect. Alrighty, so hi everybody. For our March 2022 monthly report, our membership has stayed the same for the past few months. It's 117 eligible members. It changed just recently because we had some graduates, but we had 91 active members and 26 were in training from the classes of 2021 and 2022. And over the course of the month, 52 unique members logged in services through 26 unique service opportunities. And that is, it's staying pretty consistent. It's been the same number for the past 2 months, I believe. And in addition to that, 43 unique members have logged volunteer hours, and 44 unique members have logged AT hours. And so what does that translate in terms of volunteer service? In March, 757.5 total approved service hours are now documented in BMS. And a shout out to the new class, 90, almost 100 of those hours were from that new class. So they've been keeping active and engaged in addition to doing their work as trainees. And so multiplying that by the $28.54 for each hour, that means our chapter has impacted at the rate of $21,619.05. So that's great continued work and continued contributions on behalf of our members. And our members are improving themselves and their knowledge with 250.5 total approved AT hours. And again, a great number of numbers are the same. So I don't know if I just made a copy and didn't mean to, but they've been active too. the new class. Apologies for that. I'll make an update to that. And so out of those 757.5 service hours, you can see that impact, 659 adults and 182 youth. We can pretty much guess as to, so that's a huge jump from previous months. So that's really great work. And again, just a quick breakdown of where our members are, how they're reporting services, excuse me. So that's the AT breakdown, but over here you can see the volunteer service. It's still a good amount in chapter business and keeping us going, and we can see that Benson is getting the largest share of volunteer service, though Estero is still being assisted as well. And our chapter business, which is taking up a good amount of the entries. That's a breakdown. Again, we've been running our classes, which just ended recently. But then again, you can see that our group is still staying pretty active to make sure that there are more and more of us every single year making an impact. And so there's that breakdown for last month. And that's pretty much me. Just a quick reminder of a few things, or one big thing. If you haven't paid your dues, they are due, or were due last month, but we will not turn them away. Just make sure that we get them so that we can make sure that you are active, because no one wants to be switched over to inactive. And that's how you can do that. And if there are any questions, that's my report.
I have a question, Ronnie.
Yep.
How do we know if we have paid? Where do we look? It's because I tend to forget, so.
Oh, yeah. And it's like our system is it's one person to another person. I can check my emails from Gail to see if you have paid.
Ronnie.
Yes, ma'am. And River and I updated. But...
Yes. If they have paid, I've been updating. So if you want to look, Robert, look at your logbook. It's under the certifications tab. Once you get into, I think it's user defined, you can get in there and look and see, and it'll say last dues paid through, and it'll give you the year. And if it doesn't say 2022, then we'll have to look and see if you have paid them and it wasn't updated. We can do that.
Okay.
River, if I could just make a correction, it's not the logbook. The logbook is the service and training entries. It's the user profile.
Oh, okay.
So,
thanks.
All right. Any other questions for Ronnie? All right. Ronnie, I did notice that Ann Mayville does not appear to be on unless she just got on in the last few minutes. Do you want to report for a moment on the graduation and how that went?
Absolutely. It was great. We got to celebrate our graduates from this year's class, the 2021 class and the 2020 class last Tuesday. And I have, oh no, I didn't get all of them, but I can talk about this class. We had representatives from every single class, which was nice. And here's the slides for the awards for that, and at least the graduates. So where am I right here? So I'm sure Anne would be celebrating them and thanking everybody that helped make those classes possible. It is not an easy feat, and definitely not a one-person job. So thank you to everybody who helped make those happen. Oh, that flipped out over here. We had 18 trainees in our class, and all 18 of those trainees completed all the requirements to graduate on time. So like a big round of applause to them.
That's congratulations.
That's really fantastic stuff. And so, they didn't just graduate, they were very active all throughout the classes, not just participating in the classes, but participating outside of the classes and getting out there and making a strong impact. So congratulations to that class. If you're here, and if not, then we got 18 new members that we're going to be able to work with, and so it's exciting. And then let's see, out of those
While you're
two,
looking, how many did we start with?
18.
So we had 100% graduation.
Yes.
Wow.
So it's pretty, yeah, again, pretty great stuff considering the numerous challenges that the last round of classes have faced. And so, and also,
I think
I'm
it's
so
a
sorry?
first in all the classes that they
Oh.
the Master Naturalists had in the Valley.
Yeah, so it's pretty great stuff. And again, well, we had some that technically did leave us, but before the classes officially started. So
yeah,
that's where we're at. So, and out of those 18, we had 2 of our trainees initially certify. So that's Rudy Escobar and Rosa Elena Flores. So again, pretty strong. So now we just need 16 more to become fully certified master naturalists.
Thank you, Ronnie, and thank you for the class and the other classes too. We had some get the certificates that had been sitting there waiting for them, and that they'd been waiting for. So we were tickled that they were there and we could present those. River, would you like to talk about awards and recognitions? And I know you were busy handing out some of those to individuals who attended that class graduation event too.
Okay. Yes. Yes. So some of the recertification pins were picked up, and I still have quite a few with me though. So right here, Ronnie was gracious enough to create this slide with these are the recertifications for April. And we have a total of 20 already recertifications. So that's really, really good. We also had one initial certification from the 2020 class, and that was Carla Canales. So now we have 2 2020 class members that, kind of weren't around for a little bit. They've returned, and I mean, we all know what happened in 2020 with the cancellations and stuff. So anyway, they're back and they have initially certified. We also have 2 100-hour recipients, and that's Ruth Nix and Janie McGee. So we're really reckoning the service hours. I'm really, really proud of this group because we do amazing stuff. I mean, it's not said enough. Every one of us, every one of you that volunteers in any way, I for one really, really appreciate it. And I know that the places where we go volunteer, I know they appreciate it very much too. They're always saying so. So thank you, everyone.
Right. And thank you for keeping track of all that for us, River. We appreciate it. Joseph, you want to talk about our web stuff? Is he here? Yes, I see.
Yeah, I'm here. And while I'm doing that, I can share you quick a slideshow of.
Oh, yes.
Oops. Oh, come on. There we go. Oh, so I haven't had too much time to do website stuff, obviously, but we're still having a pretty good number of traffic thanks to Anita's blogs, and we've been using it for organizing the students their class information and access to the videos and documents that speakers gave to us. So we're starting to use their website more than we used to. Let's see. I can't think of much else to talk about on the website stuff. Of course, if there's any ideas for articles that you have, if you something more timely than you want to say for the newsletter, let us know. Anybody can write a blog story if you want. We'll post it.
All right. Thank you. And Anita, you want to?
I got a question for Joseph. How many did we have on Facebook tonight?
I think it was about 10. I'll have to look at the stats again.
And I did see a final count of 32 at one time on this. Okay, Anita, I know you've posted a blog recently, and I know you've done some work or an article. You want to talk about that a minute?
I will, but is this Rosa Flores?
I think that looks like her from
Looks like
the
her.
picture I can see.
Mm-hmm. She.
Yeah. Okay. Can you see that?
Yeah, that's probably her.
Okay. Thanks. So now, what did you ask?
Well, I was going to say, you have recently posted a blog, and you also have just finished up an article. You want to tell people to be on the lookout for those?
Well, yes. Okay. I did. I posted a blog, and it's on the chapter website, and I announced that through the 3 Facebook places where I market. One's Hugh Ramsey Nature Park, which I have a following there, so I continue to let them know about any master naturalist writings that I do. I also today I wrote a media release that will talk about the 55 graduates that we honored. I know that they had graduated in other 2 years, but it's in conjunction with April being Global Volunteer Month, and then in the United States, it's Volunteer Week this week. So I'm going to send it to the 30 media in the Valley that I have on my media list. And first of all, I'd like to thank everybody, 7 or 8 of you this morning who helped me clean it up a little, make sure it's all correct and things like that. And Donna, I don't know if you received it, but you need to approve it before I send it in the morning.
Yes,
Okay,
I did see it.
Good. I sent the final draft.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll look at that. Let's see, what else did I?
Your blog about the flowers.
Yeah, the blog actually.
Is it a
What
blog?
inspired me was the fun that we really had selling all those native plants, and at the wherever we were last week. The big event,
show.
The big event at the convention center in McAllen. That was exhausting, but a lot of fun. I only exhausted myself 2 days. I know most of you did work like 4 days, putting it all together and taking it down. And Robert, I really admire you. And I told you this, if I'd been in charge, I would have done the same thing. If you're in charge, you're there every minute, and he was. And I just think that's exceptional, above and beyond. So let's see, I think that's all that I have. I'm going to, oh, and Tony, I think you probably saw in the email, I have not heard back from Robbie, and I know I sent him information. I sent him a lot of interview questions on the day that he traveled, and I knew he was traveling. So I need to make sure that I have his correct email. Elizabeth has her hand up, and it's kind of
scary.
Discombobulating. No. Yes, Elizabeth.
As you know, I'm still out of town, but I was wondering.
Oh, would you like to see that news release before I send it out?
It sounds like you got it covered. No,
Okay.
I was just wondering if there's anything coming up soon about the City Nature Challenge.
Oh man,
or not. I mean, I've been out. I don't know what's been happening. So,
well, last weekend they had training over. Was it last weekend?
It'll
that
be
John
this
Brush did?
weekend.
Yeah,
This weekend.
John
Okay.
Brush. He has
Yeah.
a morning one and an afternoon one at Quinta on Saturday.
Yeah.
I did want to thank you for bringing that up, Elizabeth, because I was wondering, Joseph, if some of us more experienced app users are going to help, or is it just I've signed up and Eileen Matea's signed up. We're going to go over on Saturday.
Yeah, I signed up for the afternoon one. I'm sure, I mean, I usually go to his iNaturalist talks and help out with people that need help with the app and stuff. And so the more people can spread around and help, the better.
Oh, okay, good.
and,
I'll be
but I mean,
prepared to do that. Ask John then if he
Yeah.
wants. We're gonna go to the morning session.
I'm not sure I'll make it because I volunteered at the National Butterfly Center that morning, so I may get worn out.
Speaking of the National Butterfly Center, I thought y'all had stricken that off of your
No, that was
partnership.
just for we weren't going with a class this year. But we've still,
What?
we just weren't doing our class with them this year.
Okay, but they're still a partner and they're still
Yeah.
in good graces?
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
they were closed for a while, and they're only open to members right now. So
Oh,
They reopened fully on Earth Day, I think next Saturday.
to the general public?
Yeah.
mhm.
Will that be a permanent opening or just that day?
Yeah, it should be permanent unless something else
Okay.
happens again.
Oh, well, that's good to know. It's kind of confusing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank
think
you. And
that's-
y'all watch for Anita's announcements, and her articles and blogs are always very interesting. And I like the wildflower one too. Somebody else commented in the chat they liked it. So thank you for
I
doing that.
appreciate that. I also would like to thank all of you people who have responded to my little whiny thing about nobody ever likes it. So I really appreciate all you people who push the little like button. It does helps me to go on.
We all like to see those and hear those kudos. Well, in that vein, then I will proceed, and I would like to
I
say
noticed that. I missed a section. You had me talking about the moth stuff right there.
yeah, if you want to go
so-
ahead and do that, go ahead.
Our chapter, or the board decided, it's been a while ago, there was BioEquip, the company that does a lot of stuff with insects and science products. They went are going out of business. So right before they did, we got the idea of buying a moth, a fancy moth lamp. It's probably not the type of lamp Jennifer wants me to be using right now with her Dark Skies initiative. It's one of the old-fashioned like street light bulbs. Puts out a lot of light. It's unshielded completely, but it's great for mothing. So, and I don't leave it on running all night, so it's not that bad. But so next time we have a moth event, it should be pretty exciting. It's an expensive setup, but we figured it should last pretty much forever. So even long after I'm gone from the chapter, maybe we'll have other people interested in mothing using it. And the total was, I think, about $540. So that does sound expensive, but we're trying to come up with ideas to improve the chapter and spend some of our money. And it's definitely brought in some moths that I haven't seen before already. So we're already putting it to some use. And Robert says I'm not going anywhere. Someday I'll get old.
Not before me.
That mothing equipment hopefully will outlast me.
All right. Well, we appreciate you following up with that and finding those items and having that available for us.
Can we add a shield of some sort? Yeah, you could. And when I'm using it in my backyard, I do block off most of the light. But I block off the nights for the light trespass, so it doesn't hit my neighbors too much. But I'm shining it straight up in the sky, where we're not supposed to for Dark Skies initiative. But that's where the moths are flying too. So hopefully I don't leave it running all night, so I'm not interrupting too many migrating birds. And I've gone back to in the last few nights just running the regular, not so bright stuff, so I don't mess with the migration.
All right.
How about the bat equipment?
I looked into that, and if anybody's really interested in bats, let us know. We're looking into getting a bat, what they call a bat detector. It's a device that you plug into your phone, and it runs a little app and tries to just using the frequency and the recording of their calls to try and determine which species are possible based in your area and how they sound. So we thought that'd be a good thing to bring to night events, get somebody really into bats that knows they can make a whole presentation out of that. I'm not that into bats, and I'm more into moths and bugs. So, but we thought that was a good thing for the chapter to get. Right now, I looked into it. The fancier model is about 300 or 400, I think. But it only comes in, you have to choose either the Apple or Android connection. And since we don't know who's going to be using it for sure, I was wondering if we should wait a little bit. But if anybody's really, really into bats and wants to get into that, let us know. We can push to make that decision sooner or later. It's definitely something we've approved at the purchase. We just aren't sure exactly what model to get, and or whether we wait a little while and see who might pick up that device and run with it.
All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. All right, and I'll move on. I did want to mention this is a Volunteer Appreciation Month, and we had 3 events just in the last couple of weeks. We had the Monarch Fest at Quinta, which had excellent coverage. We had enough participation that we were also able to lend a hand to the Estero table because poor Becky was down there by herself, and so one of our other members went down there and joined her, and then we had 2 other members that had signed up through Quinta, and so they already had them assigned to other places, and I still had at least 3 at our table at all times. So it was a great turnout for me, and like I said, I'm like Anita. I don't know how Robert did it for 4 days. I was pooped after one day, setting up one day, and then just being there for those hours. But it was fun. It was fun seeing all those kids. So we had Quinta, and then the Home and Garden Show at McAllen. I know Robert's probably got a list of all the volunteers. We'll see all the hours that were put in there by those. I know I showed up a little bit to bring some stuff to him. But then even our class graduation, we had a lot of people volunteering and bringing stuff early and setting up the room and the projector and sound system. And so thank you for all that work ahead of time and bringing in all the things for our graduates and members that attended that. So, we also had the April Red Parrot count. And I know John Yoakum took a picture of the group of us that showed up, and for a change, the parrots outnumbered the observers in our group. So, and they came to the location that Susan and I decided to go to this time. So we were excited because they got to come see us in our location. I did want to mention, Robert set out something, as you may have noticed, Martha Jones is here taking minutes. She was our secretary last year, and we had elected another member, and he's not been able to fill that position. So we are asking if you would be interested in filling the position of secretary, at least for the remainder of the year. We won't hold you for more than that, but it'd be nice to give Martha a reprieve from that, so that she's also did it all last year. And if anybody could help out with that and would be willing to do that for us, for both our board meetings and our regular meetings, please let Robert or I know, or any board member, and we'll be more than happy to put you to work. And you can get lots of volunteer hours in. working on the board. So thank you for considering that. Kathy Ton is not with us tonight. She's around the world. There was an 8 hour, I think she said an 8 hour time difference from where they were, so they were not going to dial in tonight. And then moving forward from that, we have AT opportunities. Those we continue to post as they become available. Keep in mind that any of the TMN Tuesdays that are already recorded can be reviewed, and they can count as AT even though they're not interactive like other AT needs to be. But our TMN Tuesdays can be watched at any time. And our next one is May 10th. Our annual meeting is in Houston, October 22nd and 23rd this year. There will be opportunities for training there. And then I know Susan's here. If she's still awake, Susan, do you want to talk about volunteer service projects that we know are coming up?
Stop picking on me. I'm your big sister. You're supposed to be nice. Just some ongoing stuff. The City Natures Challenge is coming up, and we've already mentioned the training for that. It is officially April 29th through May 2nd, and then you have from May 3rd through the 8th. That is the identification period. Excuse me. Then we have the Great Texas Birding Classic Big Sit team at Estero. I know we talked about that before. Do we have any more details about that?
Yeah, I was hoping Javier would be on tonight. He has not forwarded me a date for their big sit over there yet.
Okay. Well, there is a link on our agenda. That's the word I was looking for.
This piece of paper that I keep looking at.
Yes, there is a link on that to the tournament rules, and the virtual volunteer fair is coming up on May 5th. It's not the 4th and 5th. It's just
no, it's only the 5th.
And there will be. We think from the descriptions, we think that there are going to be 3 different opportunities that our group can take advantage of. And one of them is the one that Donna's been doing for a couple of years now, which is the
Botanical Research Institute of Texas and transcribing herbarium specimen labels.
See, and I can't even say all of those words right now. And then one of them is a cleanup of some sort, and the other one is identifying specific native flowers. So we will send out more information about that, probably a couple of reminders. It is from, I believe it was 9 until noon on the 5th. However, it will be recorded, so you'll be able to watch it, even if you're not able to log in that day. And you'll still be able to sign up also. And there's real specific instructions for how to sign up. And that is in the email that you will be. Did we already forward that to the whole group?
I do not remember. I know I just saw it a little bit earlier today.
Oh, I saw it and I was not at home when I saw it. And I can't remember off the top of my head if that was just, we got that from the state listserv or if that was everyone. I'll forward it again. You can always delete it if you get 2 of them.
All right.
Thank you. That's all I have.
All right. Thank you.
I take it back. I am temporarily unable to do much. I have not. I'm losing my voice. I have not been able to volunteer over at Sea Turtle Inc. for the last few weeks, and I did get an email today that the facility itself really could use more volunteers. There is a training that you do, but anyone who loves the sea turtles and looks for an excuse to go to the island, please go to Sea Turtle Inc. website, and there is a process on that website where you volunteer and submit your name and what you're interested in, and they will get in touch with you. They are really hurting. Now that all the winter Texans have left, they're really hurting for volunteers.
All right. Okay, I think that's about the end of our business meeting. Our next board meeting is May 2nd. Our next general meeting is May 16th. And Elizabeth, I have that Rosanna Baca Garza with the CHAPS program at UTRGV is going to be talking about their latest project. Do you want to comment on that?
Oh, let's see. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes, that's what we're gonna do. And since I've been out of town, I don't have any other talks arranged yet, but I'll be back towards at the end of the month, and we'll start working on getting the next few months lined out.
Okay, that's
Thank you.
great. Okay, does anybody else have anything they need to bring up for business or comments to make? Yes, Robert.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Can you see me?
No, we can't see you.
Good. Anyway, going back to the Home and Garden Show, I just want to give special thanks to everybody who participated. We had between 20 and 25 volunteers who really helped out. In particular, Bill Rich, Anita, and Mirtala, who contributed or donated some of their plants that they brought in. And also Anita and Mary that had their presentations. Very good, well written, and very well presented. However, the participation by the audience was very low. As I mentioned in my note, that it was not advertised very well. I think it was a learning experience for us since we had not done this. Excuse me. And so I'll work with the organizer to have it better prepared next year. Also, I know we had probably in the vicinity of 100 to 150 people per day in the 3-day event that came by our booth. And so we shared everything that we knew about using native plants in the gardens, etc. Were able, if through our informational booth, to not sign up, but have about 16, 17 people who are really interested in our class for next year, and another 15 or 20 that signed up for our mailing list. So altogether, it was a great success, I believe. So thank you everybody that came out and participated, and those that attended the presentations done by Anita and Elizabeth. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan, I see your hand up. Do you mean to be having your hand up? Did you want to say something?
No.
All right, but being my big sister, I have to pay attention to her, so.
Giving Robert a thumbs up, and for some reason my mouse got stuck and I couldn't get it to do what I wanted it to do.
All right. Well, with that, I think we can close the meeting. We had 1 hour of AT and 45 minutes, but 0.75 hours of chapter business for our members that hung in here with us for the chapter business meeting. So thank you, everyone. You can always get hold of us anytime if you've got any questions on any matters we discuss, and whether you want to do it privately, that's fine. My name is out there. So thank you so much for everybody for your participation, and the Facebook people for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the program, and maybe we'll be doing more about the night sky. Thank you, everyone.
Adios.